Chris, so good to have you on the Local Business Breakthrough Podcast. I'm excited about having you. This is Chris Dyck from August Roofing and Solar, and they not only operate in Simi Valley, but most of Ventura County, all the way up into Santa Barbara, and then down into LA County.
Yes.
We have Santa Clarita. You know, we have the Valley, of course. We have Malibu. We have all of these places. But one of the things that I am most excited about August Roofing and Solar isn't the work that you guys do, but it's the reason why you guys do the work that you do. And so share with us, share with our audience what your mission is, and unpack the why behind why that matters to you and why you would create a company that is pursuing this mission.
Okay. Well, it's a little bit of a story, but it goes back to actually when I actually got into roofing. So I've been roofing since a week out of high school, graduating high school. I was worked at a gas station.
How many years ago was this?
Well, 85 was when I graduated. So was that almost 40 years now?
Wow.
Yeah, 40 years in about a half a year. So I worked at this gas station, and it happened to be in an area there was a lot of construction happening. So, right as I was rolling in from high school, 3:30, 4 o'clock, that's when all the construction workers were rolling in, filling up their trucks and stuff like that. And so it was back in the day when you worked at a gas station. You didn't sit in a little booth. You were out on the island collecting money and stuff like that. And there was this one guy, he was a superintendent for a roofing company, and he kept bugging me. He said, "Hey, you got to come work for us when you graduate. It's a great job." And, kept trying to get me to do that. And so
why do you think that he was doing that with you?
I don't know. I'm kind of a extrovert, I guess you would say. I like talking to people, and I would just always make relationships, especially if I started to see him come again and again. So just built up a relationship with him.
And so he saw something in you that, was different than other people?
I don't know. I was young, and they needed people to work. So it was business is booming, and so they need guys. And so, yeah, I've never really thought about it that way, but there's probably, obviously something that he saw.
And then also, I mean, if you're friendly, if you're striking up conversations, he's probably like, who would I want to be stuck on a roof with for 8 hours a day?
Yeah.
Like somebody that it's nice to hang out with.
Yeah. Yeah. Could very well be. So anyways, get to the week before I graduate, and I go to him. I go, "Okay, well, tell me about this roofing thing." So he starts telling me about it, and I'm like, "Yeah, this sounds like a good job." And the real thing that got me was it started off at $9.65 an hour, and so for a little context, the minimum wage was $3.35. So I had made a couple raises. I was at 5. So I was still looking at doubling what I was making, and I really wanted to move out of the house. And I was like, okay, boom, I'm going to do this because I want to move out of the house. I can do it at $9.65 an hour. And so
that's amazing. So was it that was it just that this opportunity came up? Like, had you had previous experience with construction or building things or anything? Or
none whatsoever.
Wow.
I mean,
yeah.
I guess I do like building things. I mean, I always loved playing Legos with a kid. And I mean, I like the free form blocks more than anything else. Well, they didn't have the special fancy models that they have today, that my kids have today in my Lego playing age. But I always loved that. So I love building stuff, I guess, in that sense, but I never really had done any construction whatsoever.
So then you're working at a gas station, a construction guy keeps on coming and offering you this opportunity.
Yep.
So the reason why you're taking it, or one of the main reasons why you're taking it, is because it's just financially going to enable you to move out, kind of start the next chapter of your life.
Correct.
What was the expectation, right? Like, was there any expectation that you were going in? Because you're looking at the money, you're looking at the freedom that it's going to afford you, but roofing is hard work.
Yeah.
And you're going from walking around talking to people, handling money a little bit here and there. Like, how was that transition for you?
Well, that's the funniest story of it all, is the first day that I worked on the roof, my back hurt so bad that I actually stopped at 7-Eleven and got a newspaper to look through the want ads. And I said to myself, I am not going to roof for the rest of my life.
Oh, man.
And so here I am 40 years later.
So what happened?
Still roofing. Yeah, I don't know.
There wasn't anything better in the...
I guess not. Either that or I got through that initial pain.
Yeah, initial pain. Then you got stronger.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what pain does.
Yep.
Doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so there you are. So you're learning roofing. You've now kind of, taken a new direction in your career, so to speak. So how do you go from I'm a new guy, I'm the newest guy on the roofing crew, to owning your own roofing company?
So, like I said, it was booming. Business was booming. And the company that I was working for was large. So this is back in 85, and they had 350 roofers. So this was a large organization. And so there was a lot of opportunity. And I just kept working up. And I got, worked up to becoming a foreman, where you have your own crew. And that in itself was kind of like a mini entrepreneurial situation, because this company, what they did was they pieceworked. So if you were a foreman, you got X number of dollars per roof for a house, and it changed depending on complexity and size and stuff, of course. But then I could go out and hire people. Now they would be under the company's, workers' comp and all that sort of stuff, but I would tell them how much to pay each man out of the piecework. So we obviously had to go by, minimum wages and follow all the rules. But so I kind of was like my own company within a company.
That's interesting. Is that what happened when you originally got hired? Is it you were
I got hired
like on this guy's crew? Yep. And then you worked your way up so that now you had your own crew.
Yep.
And so it's like it's an opportunity to almost like run kind of your own department.
Yep.
Or a business in a sense.
And be rewarded for being successful and working hard at it. And, that's kind of where I was, what I was always taught was work hard. My dad and my grandpa always worked hard. And so that was, easily modeled for me. So here was an opportunity. All I had to do was apply myself.
Yeah.
So
this opportunity, you decided to go with it.
Yep.
And there was something about it that you must have really liked. Like, what was there something about it that like kind of like opened your eyes to like, oh my goodness, like this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to continue to do. And I don't want to just continue working for this company, but I want to have my own.
Right. Yeah. Well, the thing that intrigued me was the entrepreneurial aspect of it. Right. I mean, if I figured out how to organize my guys better, then I could make more money. Right. I kind of configured things for my truck and my toolbox and everything to make us super efficient as a crew. And then, moved up in favor with my boss, and I got larger and larger projects. At times I got entire subdivisions that I got to handle. But again, I could make some decent money then. And so that's really what drove me. Mm-hmm. I've always, this is the funny thing is, as a kid, I remember, I didn't want to be a fireman or a policeman or, a lot of little kids. I wanted to own my own business. And I didn't have any idea or notion around what it was going to be. I just had this yearning. And so this kind of like, I'm 20 years old and it fulfills that yearning already.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't know if I'd still be there today, but I would have lasted a lot longer if there hadn't have been some, there was kind of a moral issue. So my boss viewed us, he wasn't the greatest guy. He viewed us as, kind of like independent contractors. And so there was a few things that happened on some jobs that he felt that were my responsibility, that were covered under his liability. So he decided to start taking them out of my paycheck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I went.
Is this something that he told you about, or all of a sudden you see your paycheck and you're like, what happened?
No, all of a sudden I saw my paycheck and it was just light.
Oh, that's definitely the way to handle your people.
Yeah, well. Absolutely. And then I asked my superintendent, who's the next guy in line. He goes, well, I don't know. And then it took 2 or 3 weeks of hemming and hawing. And I finally said, I'm 20 years old and I'm going to go and see the owner of the company. And I'm like, I got to go talk to this guy because this is not right. And so went in, He explained to me what his opinion of it was, and I said, you know what, you don't pay me for the liability. You don't pay me enough to cover the liability of these situations, and that's those things are yours. And he goes, you know what, I really don't need people with an attitude like you, so you're fired.
Wow.
And just sent me out of the office right then and there. And it was the greatest day of my life. That was when August Roofing was born.
So you're like, okay, fine. I'm going to go do this myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna, and we actually did end up competing against him a number of years later, probably about 10 years later, on a few numbered jobs. So that was kind of a little good karma for me anyways.
Did you, since you guys were continuing in the same field and then competed with each other some years later, did you ever talk to him about it again? Did that ever come up, or like?
No, we never. He was, he's I guess he was at a different level than me. He owned a very large organization. We never, he didn't hang around the same, associations and stuff that I did. So I never got to.
You guys weren't in the same circles.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally perfect. Yeah, we didn't hang in the same circles, and I don't think I've ever talked to him again.
Mm-hmm. So being 20, because you were 20 years old when that happened, right?
Yeah.
So being 20 years old, did you have somebody that was kind of like speaking into you to give you that perspective of like, hey, you're not paying me enough to cover this liability? Or was that just like, as you were looking at the situation and like, it was just from your gut, like kind of like your own understanding of like, hey, no, this is like, if I'm going to take this liability, then like there should be a different type of pay scale.
Correct. Yeah. No, it was really my upbringing, my being, right? And it really, it set up what what August Roofing's purpose is to redefine professionalism in the construction industry. I felt that it was entirely unprofessional. That was obviously the biggest, but there was a lot of other things. We didn't have health insurance. I mean, if we didn't work, we weren't getting paid. There was no paid holidays, stuff like that. So to me, it just like the whole industry, and this is one of the largest companies in Southern California. And that, so, you think you'd be at the pinnacle of benefits and stuff like that. So if this is the best that is out there, oh my goodness. So, and this is just not the way I was brought up and, or what I believed, so.
Talk to me a little bit about that. Unpack that a little bit about what it is that you believe and how that informs the decisions and, your why of starting this company.
I just felt that roofers should be treated with as much value in the world as, let's say, a doctor or lawyer. And it just didn't feel to me that there was that kind of equality. And so my goal has been, like I said, redefine professionalism in the construction industry. And that meant going through and looking at the various things. I mean, treating your customers right. I mean, if you want to talk about a corrupt section of construction, unfortunately, roofing is horrible. I mean, the other day, I literally just heard this story this morning. The had guys, they did a nice old lady, did a inspection for her, came down off the roof, and they showed her the problems, and she started crying because she had the roof done already, and they literally did nothing.
Oh, man.
Literally did nothing. And that's what this, unfortunately, if you're doing an interior remodel or something, it still can get away with stuff, but your eyes are right there. How many people are going to climb up on their roof and make sure that they're getting the underlayment that they want and everything like that? Now, I don't want to make a wholesale thing. There's a lot of great guys out there that do great work, but unfortunately, the general way the industry acts is not very professional. So I set out to up the bar, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody can follow. And so I figure not only am I doing a service to creating a great organization that will take care of people, employees and customers, but you can elevate the whole industry, right? Right? Because if that's what customers and employees start to expect as the minimum standard or as the goal, then you'll elevate the whole industry. So that's my why.
Wow. So not only making things better for the employees,
Right.
and taking care of them, but as you do that, then they are going to take care of the customers. Mm-hmm. And I think that speaks a lot. And I'd like you to talk a little bit more about this. You've talked about how there wasn't benefits that were offered, there wasn't holiday pay, there wasn't any of these things, and so a lot of the workers in the industry are subcontracted, and so the incentives, right? Like the incentive lies in them trying to do work as quickly and cheaply as possible.
Correct.
Right. So then you've taken a different approach, and kind of like talk about how an August Roofing and Solar crew, the guys that are showing up and getting on the roof and doing the work, taking off the tiles, putting them back on, installing the solar, what is their incentives?
Well, my goal was to really create a job for roofers, right? Like, it's not like, okay, I got a roof for you to do today, and when it's done, come back and maybe I'll have another roof for you to do, because that's kind of the subcontracting industry, the way it goes. And again, I don't mean to paint the whole industry that way. There are some great contractors out there, but for us, it's a regular job. And I understand my most employees, they need to work 40 hours a week. So we go out of our way to, if they're done a job and the next one's not quite ready, you might put them with another crew. And, this is kind of the standard thing. We have pay for them. We have also created a career path through our roofer development program. And we've created multiple different levels, and there's different skill sets that you have to reach. And then once you reach that, you get a pay raise to the next skill level set. So a lot like the way the union was structured before it disappeared. Mm-hmm. The union's still around for commercial. If you're residential, it was gone back in the day that I was working on the roof. Mm-hmm. Again, paid holidays. Mm-hmm. The 6 days everybody in the office gets paid for, right? Mm-hmm. Now the roofers get paid for. Mm-hmm. So, the company wants a day off. Everybody wants the day off, but the roofers, if they got that means they only got a 4-day week, right? Yeah. Like on your 4th of July or whatever. So that hurt them actually. Mm-hmm. Right. And so paying for that, then as they move up, and as much, depending on how much time they spent with us and what position, they can get, a week or 2 weeks of paid vacation also, which is pretty unheard of for construction workers.
Yeah.
And then we put in, got health insurance for everybody too, where we cover a portion of it, not all of it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So then the August Roofing and Solar crew, their incentive is to do good work.
Correct.
Because instead of trying to cut corners and maximize their take home for each day of work, right? It's like what they're doing is they're trying to maximize their career.
Right.
By doing excellent work, by increasing their skill sets, so then they could continue growing in the company.
Yeah.
Earning more money, more responsibility. And so then at the end of the day, everybody benefits. Yep. But like especially the customer.
For sure.
Right?
Yep.
Because they get people that are showing up instead of people trying to, a crew that's just trying to get on and off the roof as fast as possible, as cheap as possible. They're getting a crew that shows up and want to do the absolute very best that they could do and make sure that this customer is taken care of, because their careers are riding on it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've got pride in their work too, right?
Mm-hmm. What type of difference has that made in the lives of the crew members? Because I'm sure that you've got guys that come and start working for you that have experience working for other crews where it's just not that way.
That's correct.
And then they get a job with August Roofing and it's just 180 degrees different.
Yeah.
So like what are some of the things that you've heard them say?
Well, I guess the biggest things that happened that spoke to that was a number of years ago, most of our guys now are actually created from within. We don't hire many guys from that are like roofers or have skills
Mm.
because of our internal process. And I like to keep everybody moving internally. So unless we have a huge demand for a certain position, we'll usually try and move people up. And so again, it just strengthens the bond and the loyalty of the employee, right? Because they knew they're going to get taken care of. But we had a couple guys that we hired in that were from another company, had a good skill set. It was a good company. So I figured, okay, I'm willing to take a try. They weren't really super happy with the hourly pay because, again, the piecework mentality is like sometimes they'll work 10, 12 hours, till the job gets done, right?
Yeah.
And we work a regular 8-hour day. We don't normally, very rarely do we work on the weekends, again, because I figure these guys got families just like everybody else. They're taking their kids to soccer and all that same kind of stuff. So why, just because you're a construction worker, do you not have that, you're not afforded that those kind of simple luxuries in life, right? So anyways, I hired these two guys, and they weren't super happy with their pay, and it didn't take too long, and they left and they took another job at another company, and it was over the almighty dollar. But they didn't really calculate everything, because it wasn't about 3 months later they called and said, hey, can we have our job back? And then they really understood that it was different. Now it takes a different mindset to understand that it's different, because if those guys will throw a lot of dollars at you, but that's all it is, and some of them don't even pay into Social Security or anything, so they're not, they're totally running under the radar, so you're not even getting anything towards future Social Security, or potentially no insurance if you hurt yourself on the job. So
yeah, there's a big difference, in the cost, in the cost for a person to be an employee of a company rather than somebody to be a contractor or subcontractor.
Yeah, for us, it's like almost 3/4. So if I pay a guy, $20 an hour, it's costing the company $35 an hour to keep them on the roof, just from, that doesn't include like the days off, or it doesn't include any of those benefits. It's just insurance and what the government wants and stuff like that.
Yeah. And that stuff is always important to take into consideration.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like a hidden cost.
Oh yeah.
And then once they start getting hit with it, then they're like, hey, wait a minute, like back at August Roofing, it was a little bit better.
Right.
With your business mindset, right? Because you've been successful in business. What would you say are some of the things that have helped you to develop that? It's like there could be, I don't know, just kind of like intuition, but from our previous conversations, it also seems like you're somebody that enjoys reading, that enjoys getting into things. So like, what have been some of the main influences as you've been developing this company and kind of like your own business skills? Like, you developed your roofing skills,
right,
but like now you're running a company. How have you developed those business skills?
It's totally different. The number one thing is you hit on it. Just understand you don't know what you don't know, right? Read, talk to other people in the industry, associations, hanging out with other guys that are doing the same thing. It always amazes me with the technology that we have and the supercomputer in our hand, that literally there should be a book. And if you wanted to start a roofing company, you could just buy that book and you would know how to start it and it would be successful. But that's not the case. Each one is as unique as like a fingerprint, right? And each guy has his own thing. And so just meeting other guys and listening and talking to them, sometimes I'm like, oh, wow, that's a hell of an idea. I've only been doing this 40 years and I didn't think of that. So that's a big thing. Play the long game. Right. Just know that it might not work out today, or especially in the money thing, right? You have to make some decisions that are the right for the long game.
Mm-hmm.
And then being flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody in the office knows I'm Mr. Plan B,
Mm-hmm.
right? You got to have a plan B, and being okay if you got to go to plan B. It's just the nature of business. So those are probably the three things that I hang a lot of the foundation of how I'm successful in business.
Yeah, I like that. You don't fail if you don't quit.
Right.
Just keep on going. Talking about business development, one of the things that you guys have done is you saw the solar energy or solar panel boom happening. And so share with us kind of how you guys went from just being a roofing company to now a roofing and solar company.
Yeah. So it was 2015 is when we officially launched into solar. But the years previous, and there must have been a really heavy rain year in 12 or 13, somewhere in there, because it was all of a sudden we were getting like a huge amount of calls from past customers that the roofs are leaking. Hadn't talked to them since I put the roof on 10, 12 years ago, and even new customers too. And we're going out there, and it was a solar panel installation. In 2012, that's when literally the solar, this new solar boom started.
Mm-hmm.
And it only took about 3 years before we started seeing the damage that their attachment systems were doing to our old roofs and to the roofs of other contractors. And so early in the situation, I had a friend, a business partner that was a solar contractor, and he and I would work together. He would take the solar system off, and then I would do the work, and then he would put the solar system back on. Mm-hmm. But another thing that I'm not a big fan about is subcontracting stuff. I mean, we literally do everything in-house.
Yeah.
And when it got to being more than like one a month, and it was like 1 or 2 a week, then I'm like, nah, we gotta learn how to do this. And so that was our first real reason for even getting into solar, was just to help out customers that had poor installations, and we had to go fix them, right? Mm-hmm. And this way we could have this great service, get in, get the job done, and get out. Not, because anytime you got to bring in another subcontractor, it can just slow down the process, right? It just makes the situation longer.
Oh, definitely. You're trying to balance schedules and,
right, exactly.
His workload. You don't have control over that. So it's like, these customers, you've done all this wonderful, beautiful, high quality work on their roofs and stuff. And then they get solar. They're excited about that. A handful of years later, they start getting all these leaks. Were these customers like, were they thinking that it was the roof? Were they surprised that the solar was causing these leaks? Like, kind of, how did that go?
Some people understood it well enough that they're like, oh shoot, that's exactly the plane of the roof where my solar is. Other people, don't understand how a house goes together at the same level, right? So they, they thought it was a problem in our roof. So
because they're like, the solar's brand new.
Yeah,
we just put that on there. It's like, well, actually, they make these things called holes, and they go through your roof.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of business that were, because of what these solar installers have done,
right?
They don't know how to properly seal the roof,
right?
So, like after fixing all of these these incorrect solar installations, you decided, hey, like we're gonna start installing the solar so that it can be installed correctly.
Yeah, really, what precipitated is I had a good friend I've known in the industry. He's was probably only about 10 years behind me. So he'd been in it for about 20 years at that time. And he had actually worked on all sides he'd worked for a roofing contractor, he worked for a solar contractor, he'd actually worked in installation, and he'd worked as a manufacturer's rep. So he had a wealth of knowledge from all different areas.
Yeah.
And again, he was kind of burnt out on the industry, the non-professionalism of it. And he basically, I don't know, we were having lunch or something, and he said, hey, I'm done. I'm getting out of the industry. I've got another industry. I got a job offer there. I'm going to get out of this. I can't handle this. And I said, let me make you a job offer. Let me give you one. So he decided to join us in 2015, and that's when we started full brand new solar installations. And
Wow.
he really launched the division within August Roofing. And so he worked with us for about 5 years, and then it was time for him to retire, and then we just kept going on.
Mm-hmm. But he helped you build up all of your processes,
right? Exactly.
Get the crews all trained up.
Yeah, he knew all the solar mapping and like all the technical stuff that we didn't know. So
and so now when an August Roofing and solar crew come to install some solar, they're not just a solar installation crew, but they're expert roofers that are going to leave that solar installation properly sealed.
Yeah.
And not cutting any corners.
Yeah. I mean, we're a full-on solar company. I mean, the level of installation that we do and level of knowledge and everything, we're a full-on solar company and a full-on roofing company. Mm-hmm. And we know how to properly attach the panels to your roof and waterproof around them so that you don't have any problems. So you're getting the best of both worlds. We're not a roofing company that just kind of knows a little bit of solar or subcontracts it out. No, I mean, we fully know it. Our people in the office understand all the components to it and pull our own permits, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, one of the things, in a perfect world, like everything always works out.
Yes.
And you guys were installing solar panel systems from a company, SunPower.
Right, correct.
And SunPower is like the top of the line, the most advanced technology. They had the microinverters on every single panel.
Yes.
Just everything was flawless and high quality, super high quality. And it was designed specifically for the installation.
Yes.
So it was making the installation as easy as possible for the installers, so that everything would be working, pristine. But then, I think just a couple months back, the news broke that SunPower is not doing too well. Things are kind of going a little bit south with them. So what is your take on what happened with SunPower as they went into bankruptcy, and now they're trying to figure out all of how everything's going to look over the next handful of years. And now, what is it that August Roofing and Solar is doing now, to best serve their new solar clients?
Yeah. So after my friend left that had helped us get the solar department going at August Roofing, that's when I started looking around. I am constantly looking at improving my organization. That may be another thing that it helps in success in business is never stand still, right?
Yeah.
Gotta keep looking. And so just notice these Maxion panels. It's super high quality. Their technology, just the way they do things, is differently. Which they're not just trying to make a better mousetrap. They've completely made an entirely new one. And so I'm like, that's the panel I want to install. And so then, kind of reverse engineer it. I found out the only way to do that was become a SunPower dealer. So I went ahead and I became a SunPower dealer. And that's how our relationship with SunPower started. And it was great. I mean, they definitely, like you said, they simplified installation, which then again increases quality for the customer, right? They had, their rails were proprietary in attachment to the rails, Invisimount, the whole 9 yards. It was a well put together system. I mean, they were thinking about it. And then at some point in time, SunPower and Maxion divested. So like in the rest of the world, SunPower and Maxion are still one corporation. And so at some point in time, they divested. I think it was shortly after COVID.
So this is just like a U.S. thing?
Yeah, just in the U.S., and they created two different companies. And so the Maxion side, they have they make something, right? Panels. They have technology. The SunPower one, now all of a sudden, they didn't really do anything except kind of like a franchisor hold all the processes together for a franchisee.
Yeah.
I.e. August Roofing. So that had its value. My desire, the value that I was looking at was the Maxeon panels.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, after they divested, they started having a quarrel, and Maxeon no longer supplied panels to SunPower. Still a little interesting. I don't know how that all happens. They're the same corporation one day, they're separate the next day, and then they won't share technology that made them. But I guess there's stuff bigger than me. So anyway, so we started, I stuck with SunPower and their processes and the new panels and everything. I wasn't super thrilled. And, there were some chinks in the armor happening. And so we kind of we're already thinking about, looking at no longer being a SunPower, dealer. Problem is when, there's a lot of processes and procedures that go with everything. And so sometimes it's like turning the Titanic, right? That saying. So to change all of that. And so we were kind of messing around with it, dipped our big toe in the pool. And, but the real, the real catalyst was, when they filed bankruptcy. And so now, there's no more support and everything like that. And so then we just started going, we go, okay, there's only one way to go is forward, right? And so we just sat down and we went through getting our modeling, our financing, our new system. The SunPower had a system, and so we have a C10 license. So there's a guy that qualifies that license. So we have an electrician on staff, and so he sat down and we created new designs and systems that would help the customer and and he actually had some ideas for improving on the SunPower system. So we're going to actually, now we're looking at having a better system where we have a greater financial, like we got leases and loans. And then I get Maxeon panels back.
Oh yeah.
That was the big thing for me. So I get the best of all the worlds, and I'm more competitive for my customers.
Yeah. And also it's not dependent on just like kind of like one proprietary ecosystem, right?
Exactly.
So like if something does kind of not working out all that well, you could just go and look for a replacement to that component.
The strength of the new process is incredible, right? Because if, like you said, one component drops off, it's easy to replace that, and it doesn't topple the whole other part of it.
Yeah. So that's SunPower and that's Maxeon. What about Tesla? Yeah. Have you, what where are you guys at with Tesla?
Well, we're Tesla authorized installer, so we can do their batteries. They don't make any panels. So, the only thing that really is that you need authorization for or to become a certified installer for is the batteries, and their batteries are off the charts. They're really great. So Maxeon panels with Tesla batteries, and
so the Tesla batteries are a part of that system that you're talking about that you guys have put together.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's top notch. I'm really happy about it.
That's awesome. That's super exciting. So we've talked about the history. We've talked about, now that you're August Roofing and solar.
Correct.
So like what's next? Like what are you looking towards in the horizon as far as leading August Roofing and solar into the future? Yeah,
we're just developing more programs. The next one that's happening right now is we're looking at a maintenance department to actually, help roofs last longer in the first place before you need to replace them. Also, a big thing these days is fire safety. I get those notifications from California Edison. Saying, hey, we're going to turn your power off. There's too much wind. So we have an opportunity to help a lot in that, right? So on the solar side, we could give you a battery and help your family get through the power outage. And on the other side, the debris that's left on roofs is super dangerous. And another thing that's really come to light in the last 5 to 10 years is the vents that are on the roof. If they're not properly done, the fire will start in the attic.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, how does that work?
Well,
because I've always thought of like the fire happening on the outside of the building.
Well, the embers get sucked in the vent and drop into the attic. So the fire marshal just changed their rules and increased decrease the size of the wire mesh that need to be inside the vent to knock the embers out, and increase the number of miles from the wildland fire area. So again, there's millions of vents. I mean, millions of vents on houses that would potentially, cause a fire situation for customers. So,
wow. So then your maintenance program for customers that sign up for that, they're going to get somebody from August Roofing and Solar showing up and inspecting all this stuff, right?
Exactly. And then we'll inspect solar too. So it's an entire, health checkup kind of for your roof. When I say roof line and above, make sure that it's to the best of our ability, that it's all functioning as best as possible for you.
That's awesome. That's super good. Anything else that's next?
Well, I'm always working on stuff. We're constantly working on our internal processes, right?
Yeah.
We just a year ago we created a new position called a project coordinator, and so this project coordinator, my vision of it was really to be an advocate for the customer within the company. So they literally are the one point of contact with the company. There's superintendents and foremen that are on the job site, and they talk to the customers all the time. But you need anything, this project coordinator, they're there to help you. They get they get permits, they get the porta potties out on the job site, take care of all that little stuff, and just make sure that the customers have a great experience from beginning to end. I mean, that's, we talked about changing from being a roofer to being a business owner. Now, that's kind of what hit me back in 2012. Was I kind of decided, well, I'm not really a roofer anymore. I'm a CEO or whatever you want to call me. And so I'm like, okay, I guess I got to get smarter about this sort of stuff. And customer experience has always been like, I'm pretty tenacious about it. If I feel that their customer's not getting a good deal because of the way we're treating them, we'll dive into it and figure out how to fix it pretty quick. That's where the project coordinator came from. Even though the sales process, a lot of guys will just go out, take a look at the thing, and send people a bid, email them a bid, put it underneath the front door.
3 weeks later.
Yeah. I want my guys to sit there and, we'll spend an hour and a half with the customer.
Yeah.
My guys go there. We take pictures of the roof. We come down, we show them to you, go over all the concerns, help you understand. How often do people buy roofs? Probably once a lifetime. Really, maybe 2 or 3 times, depends on how many times they move. I really want us to make sure that they have all the information to make a good choice, whether it's August Roofing or not. I know not everybody's going to choose us. There's no way we could, right? And so it's just so that's kind of our customer service to the world, right? And also we're raising the bar, right? So now the professional, unscrupulous guys are going to have a little bit harder place to hide if we're educating people.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Because, if your guy comes out, gives the inspection, gives all of the reporting, shows photos of what's going on the roof,
right.
Like that 8-year-old woman that you were just talking about, like if she had that experience,
right?
And then the shady roofing contractor then shows up, for a second or third or fourth bid, and doesn't provide any of that stuff,
right?
The customer is going to be able to tell the difference just from those interactions before they make the decision on who to go with.
Correct.
And hopefully they're not going to go with the other guy.
Yeah. It doesn't always stop them from it, but
Some people they like taking that
the risk, huh?
taking that gamble.
Yeah, I like bungee discount bungee jumping, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy, man. Like I've had experience with contractors where just the work just never gets fixed. You have somebody come out to the house and the problem is still there after the fourth or fifth time that they've come out, but they keep on telling you that it's fixed.
Yeah.
But no, it's not.
Yeah. Well, that's another big thing for me. And we started this a long time ago, because that always bugged me about contractors is you have this little problem and it'll never get fixed, and they just keep showing up and not doing anything essentially until everybody gets so frustrated that I'm not going to call back. It's not, and for me, it's like that. And that's usually only like 1 or 2% of the jobs, right? That have that. And so I started a process, we call it a warranty call process internally, but we log them, we treat them completely different. We count them, we watch them, I see, are they going up or down? It's a definite barometer, and I want 0. So, that's what we're always working towards. So, it's another, example of an internal process that we have. Mm-hmm. So, we have the sales process, so we're educating people. We have the production process where we're really involved in making sure the customer, has a good experience, like our superintendents. We have a pre-job walk and a post-job walk. So, and some people don't care for them. They're like, what you're doing, you do it. But our goal is to have, on the first day, the superintendent's going to be there first thing, get with you, walk around the house, take a look at the contract, make sure everything's going to be done right. Kind of like, when you go into surgery and you're having your arm amputated and the doctor marks this arm, right?
Yep.
Right. So it's the same sort of thought process. And then we can go about doing the job. And then when it's all done, we'll have the same kind of walkthrough. I actually, what we found super successful is if customers actually look at it every day. And just because my foremen are great, they'll talk to the customer, and if they, you don't like that? Okay, great. Because sometimes a certain detail, could be purely aesthetic.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And you don't like it this way, but you like it that way. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm. Let's change it.
Yeah, right. But we're going to do this 8 times on this house, right? Because it occurs 8 times. And you don't say anything till at the end of the day, after, at the end of the job. And I want you to fix 8 situations. Or you tell us on the first day, hey, could you do this one that way? No problem. And then we do all the rest of the details the same, and then it looks good. So, it's kind of an interactive process. Mm-hmm. I mean, roofing kind of feels like getting carpet put in your house, like kind of a pretty simple thing, but it's much more, it's much more of a pretty major piece of construction on your house.
It really is.
Yeah. It's not one dimensional, right? Mm-hmm. We're fixing dry rot, there's lumber, there's sheet metal, there's, tar paper, there's a lot of different things.
It's a whole entire system.
Yes.
That's one of the things that I hear you talk about. It's a roof system.
Yep.
Like, it's just not like one layer.
Right.
But there's a lot of things that have to work together in order to make this.
Right. And then throw solar in on top of it. Mm-hmm. Now you're really talking about, you got projects that are, $75,000, $100,000 project. This is a good piece of construction that's happening to your house. So, neither of us want to take it lightly, because if we work together, we can have just this awesome outcome at the end and everybody's happy. Mm-hmm. Right. Because I've joked a couple times with my customers, is like, at the end, when I kind of did the job walks at the end, I was like, nothing much against you, but I don't want to ever talk to you again. Right. I mean, referrals and stuff, of course, but I thought, that's a great testament to a roofer, is if you don't hear anything from your customer, that means his product's working, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. For at least 25 years.
Yeah.
Right. And then after that, then you want to be the first one that they call.
Yeah. That has been another very exciting thing that we've encountered. I think we've done probably 10 where we've actually re-roofed our own roof that we put on 25 or 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And the same people happened to live there.
Mm-hmm.
They called us back and said, hey, your roof lasted 25 years. It's time for a new one. Let's just get signed up and get it done.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And you could only say that because you guys have been around for how long now? 33
years.
33 years.
Yeah, 91. Yeah, 33, almost going on 34 years.
Wow. And that's super rare. Super rare in the construction industry.
Yeah. Especially for a guy after day one was not going to spend the rest of his life in this.
And then 33 years later.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Or even longer because you worked it for a number of years before you started your own company.
It'll be 40 in June, sometime in June.
Oh my goodness. Are you going to celebrate that somehow? What are you going to do, Chris? You got to. That's 40 years, 4 decades.
Yeah.
4 decades. I mean, you're not swinging the hammers anymore, but 40 years in the roofing industry. We got to do something. We'll figure something out. What would your advice be to somebody that's looking at getting into like the home services industry right now?
Run. No. No. Everybody always says it's difficult or it's challenging. Everything's going to be difficult or challenged. You know, like I said, it's probably the 3 things. Understand you don't know what you don't know. Play the long game. Make sure you just do right by your customers and your employees. Make sure you get into it for the right reasons, right?
What do you mean by that?
Well, you have to do it because you love it, because there's going to be times when it's just going to be hard. I mean, my 40 years has been fraught with a number of times where, August Roofing almost ceased to exist. And the only way was that I was not going to let it die. My love for the company and for what I was doing was greater than the pain the agony I was enduring.
Can you share one of those or?
It was, 2000. So, and this is kind of where, when I started with the company in 91. So I told you I worked for that large roofing company, right?
Yep.
And so they did primarily production work. Okay. The big tracks, tracks of homes.
So like a bunch of homes would be,
like
100 homes or 300 homes. And then they would come in and just do all of the roofs.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So big contracts, that kind of thing, volume work. And so after I had been on my own for a number of years, some of the builders that I had actually worked for this company, they realized, hey, Chris is over here. And they were smart enough to understand that I was the one doing the work. Yes, I was working for this company, but I was where the rubber was meeting the road.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, so they started calling me and saying, hey, come on, you want to come bid the jobs? And so, kind of felt good, to bid against my old boss and start winning some. But that game kind of burned me. It's a high volume game. And, I was trying to compete. So I changed my pricing to meet that. And I didn't want to, and the reality is I didn't do the kind of the workmanship that was acceptable for them. Right. So it's got, like you said, quick, get it done quick. And so, in 2000, I think it was, 2000, I had to file a Chapter 11 reorganization. And so, and the only way that got me through there is just that I loved my business and I loved the business more than the agony that I was going through, and just worked through it. And so that's gonna happen if you're
totally.
If you I don't care who you are, whatever your business is, just be prepared for that. And that is one of the great things to if you're mentally prepared for that.
So what was it like typically, like as I have seen, a number of other business owners go through similar situations. It's usually they come out of it, they either sell or they pivot. Right. You of course didn't sell.
Right.
So what was it that you kind of like pivoted away from? And what is it that you pivoted towards in order to get yourself out of that, and then for August Roofing and Solar to become what it is today?
Well, it was really defining my customer, the right customer, and not trying to be everything to everybody.
Yeah.
We want customers that want to have a great job and they want to have a quality product right? And they're also willing to invest with us in treating everybody professionally. And that is something they get in return too. This is like you talked about earlier. It takes care of both, right? You treat the employees like real people and professional, and then they treat the customers that way. So, and then the customers, they choose to work with a professional company. Their employees get treated professionally, and so therefore the customer gets a professional experience. So it all washes itself. It all works together. So that's what I pivoted towards, and just like I said, and then kind of unique situations. Like the solar thing, it presented itself. It was just, again, to take care of customers. Like, nobody knew how to do this right, even though it's in every roofing manual how you flash a pipe, but nobody wanted to do it that way.
Yeah.
So
because they're cutting those corners.
Yep. It was too much effort, too much time in their brains. They just wanted to get it on and get out of there real fast. So
there's still some stuff that I want to talk to you about. Okay. And I want to talk to you about your customer journey. Okay. And so the customer, they sign up for a risk-free consultation.
Correct.
One of your project coordinator consultants. One of your project consultants comes out. They get up on the roof. They take all of these photos. They do a whole entire, I think it's a 76-point inspection.
Correct.
And then they sit down with the homeowners. They go through all of the photos, all of their findings, so the homeowners know exactly the current condition of their roof. And then if there's any issues, then they also walk them through all of their options to get those issues fixed. So the work that needs to be done, and then also all the payment options so that they could see how it could be afforded.
Correct.
What is it after the customer has all of that, right? They're getting all this information, right? Okay. And now they might still be thinking like, well, what's actually going to happen? What's actually going to happen if I go with August Roofing? What is it going to be like for the August Roofing and Solar crew to show up on my property and do the work? Like, what is it that they can expect?
Well, to start off with, if you sign up with August Roofing, one of the first things you'll receive is from Armand, is you'll receive a welcome letter and video. It'll just give you some of the basics of what's going to happen and introduce you to a few people that will be helping you. And then the next thing is, internally, you'll be assigned to a project coordinator. So that project coordinator, my vision for that position is they are your advocate to making this a smooth project as humanly possible. Any kind of construction, especially a roof, is major disruption, interruption into your life, your regular routines. Can I brush my teeth in the bathroom? My regular wake, it's all going to disrupt that. So we want this just to be as minimally invasive as possible. So this person will be your point of contact. You'll also have point of contact of a superintendent of the crew, and then also there's a foreman on the crew. Foreman stays there through the whole job, and same with the superintendent. He's assigned that job. So you'll have many points of communication throughout the process. So the first person you'll be talking to would be your project coordinator. They'll give you your schedule. And then as it comes closer, as we understand construction, sometimes the jobs go longer, sometimes they go shorter. You don't know if it's an old roof, you're tearing it off. You don't know what you uncover. And sometimes it goes smoother and sometimes it doesn't go. There's a few more challenges, right? So then she'll dial in, or the project coordinator will dial in as you get closer, and they'll give you an exact date. Okay, we'll be there Wednesday at noon or whatever. And so you'll be kept in the loop, and then you'll have an exact starting date about a week out. Then the next step in the process is the first day of the project, and sometimes the day before, depending on your schedule, the superintendent for the job will come out and do a job walk with you. And this pre-job walk, you take the contract out. You go over it, make sure that what everybody's understanding of what's going to get done is what they want to get done. And we've found a few things in there. Oh no. And it's not that it was anybody did anything wrong. It was just interpretation. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's just a great time to, get rid of any little potential mishaps. And especially if you do this on the first day, your foreman will be there too. Get introduced to him. They'll go walk around your house. They'll take a look at everything, see, if there's anything that's damaged already, we'll, note that so that, we don't have any. I hate hard feelings. I hate change orders. I hate all of that. I want all of my jobs to go perfectly, without any of that. No, that's not realistic. That it's 100%, but we do our best to make sure that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the project will roll along. After tear off, there's an inspection that's necessary, right? And again, the project coordinator in the office will know when this inspection is coming, as well as your foreman will know about that too.
Mm-hmm. And this is an inspection from the city, right?
Yes, correct. Or whatever housing authority, like sometimes the county or stuff like that. So they'll do the inspection, and then from there, that's when we'll start putting the new roof back on. Obviously, we have to do any dry rot replacement. That's about the biggest thing that we can't really know. If I knew it, I would let everybody know. I'd build it in there, but rotting wood underneath your roof system, can't always see it. So that's the biggest unknown. And then we start putting the new roof back on.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of the next major thing for you, and a good thing to do is, every day when you get home from work, walk around your roof and just see what progress they've made and see if there's anything that maybe doesn't look right to you or doesn't feel right to you. There are certain finishing details on roofs that can be done different ways. I have no effect on the waterproofing of the roof. It just is aesthetics. And if for some reason you're like, I don't really like that, if we can find another way to do that pleases you more visually, it'd be nice that we can start doing that at the beginning, not at the end, and have to go all the way through. Or, some people are super nice customers and they're like, well, I can live with it. I really don't want to make you go do that, which, we appreciate. But I would love to do it the way you would like. And if we can do that from the beginning, then it works great for everybody. And then the final thing is your final job walkthrough. The superintendent will come back. If possible, we like to do it as the crew's finishing up the final day, because then the crew's up there, we have tools out, we can make the corrections immediately, and when we walk off the roof, your house is done. Yeah. Understandably, work and timing, that can't always be done. So if it has to be done later, then you'll have a job walkthrough with your superintendent, go over everything, make sure that everything's up to your satisfaction. Then the project coordinator will call for a final inspection. We'll get the CDA back out, do an inspection of the roof, and then everything will be done as far as that. And then we will create an invoice and we'll email that to you. Again, remembering that you don't pay until you're done and happy. So then that way, after that final job walk, we'll make sure that the happy part is taken care of.
That's it. That's a big difference. That's a big thing. They explain that a little bit more. Right. About not like people don't have to pay until not only you guys are done.
Right.
So like no money down.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Down. Yeah. I should have probably started out with the process, because that's the first process is you don't have to do anything. Sign your contract, and then you don't need to put any money down or throughout the process. It's only when the job is done and you're happy that you'll make payment.
Wow.
So
that's that's a great guarantee.
Yeah.
Because there's other contractors out there that aren't. They're taking a down payment and then, a certain percentage way through the project, then they're asking for even more to continue.
Yeah, I know. I had customer that, wanted me to, match a price of another contractor. So he sent me a proposal, and I was looking at his payment schedule. I'm like, holy mackerel, it was $1,000 down or 10%. That's a state California lawsuit. Took us $1,000. Day one, when they started tearing off, he took 50% more.
Whoa.
And then, like, when the materials were delivered, it was another 20%, and then another. Bottom line, by the time the customer got to the end, they had 10%. It was all the leverage that they had left in the situation. And,
oh my goodness.
That guy, what's he going to do if you're got if you're in a disagreement over what should be done? He might just say, 10%, $1,000. It's cheaper for me to go go start on another one, right?
Yeah, because you're getting 50% up front from the next one.
Yeah. So, and that's typical. That's something to definitely be wary of. And I do it more to keep my focus on the customer where it belongs.
Yeah.
Than necessarily it is for the customer's benefit.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just keep my mind in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's kind of your way of just like putting blinders on.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Keep focused.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes care of itself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good incentive.
Yes.
To make sure that you're keeping the important things important.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. So did we finish the final job walkthrough, and then you'll get an invoice from the office, and then you can go ahead and pay. We have, we might have taken advantage of our financing. We have lots of financing offers that you can take advantage of. We do take credit cards, and then obviously checks.
Mm-hmm.
So the project will be all wrapped up.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then you have your peace of mind.
And you have your peace of mind, yes.
Knowing that, like, you got quality work from a quality crew.
Right.
And if anything does come up, August Roofing and Solar is just a phone call away.
Yep. We have a whole process. Should you find something that's not working correctly, you just call the office, and we'll put you in our warranty call process, and it's tracked, and we make sure every one of them gets done, because that's just the way I don't want to be a typical contractor that you call, I'll be there on Tuesday, and then Tuesday comes and goes. I want the job done.
I'm sure that makes a big difference for your customers, makes a big difference for you, makes a big difference for your crew.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody that works at August Roofing knows what August Roofing stands for.
Yeah.
How does it make them feel knowing that they're a company out there really taking care of others in the community?
Right.
And not taking advantage of other people.
Right.
And I think it really goes to what it is that you're talking about, where it's bringing a sense of pride and honor, back into the roofing industry, where, like, now everybody in your company can be proud of the work that they're doing, and proud to let everybody know that's around them that they work with August Roofing and Solar. Okay. So Chris, tell me about the core values that really guide your company.
Okay. So we have two kind of categories. First is the kind of people we hire. And we hire people that are humble and hardworking, work smart, and they take pride in their work. And the second is the kind of customers the kind of customer service that we deliver, or how we treat our customers. We're customer driven, we're professional, and we give our customers peace of mind. And that's the DNA, the heartbeat of August Roofing.
And so why is it that those things are important to you? I mean, why start a company that is focused on those things?
Well, the honest goodness truth is that about, when I was 10 years ago. So after being in business about 25 years, I brought in a Patrick Lencioni consultant, and we actually did. He was actually a doctor of psychology. That his secondary career was working for Patrick Lencioni, and I actually knew him. So we had a really good session. And what he did is he dug out of me what was really my true heartbeat. And so those are the things that drive me, right? I mean, I'm all about efficiency. I want to just run an organization that, so that's why we're humble and hardworking, and we work smart, and we just take pride in our work. Just get it done and get it done right, you know? And then customers are always big for me, you know, and still are. And, that's why we're, you know, professional is the biggest thing for us, right? The customer drives us. All my guys know. I mean, that you can see in the way they act. And, you know, when I walk away, we want the customers just to go, nothing else but, peace of mind, right? I can relax. Or it could even be peace of mind when they sign a contract going, I know August Roofing is going to just take care of this chaotic time that I got to have my roof done. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be, you know, dirt all over my yard and stuff like that, but they're going to clean up every day.
That's great. That's a lot of peace of mind. And that's what customers need.
Yeah.
Especially with something that could be so personal as work done on their house.
Yeah. It's an intrusion, right? Our home is our castle, right? We don't let many people into that inner sanctum.
Yeah, it's our safe place. It's where we keep all the most important things and people in our lives.
And then somebody goes and takes advantage of that. That's just sad.
Yeah, it is. Well, thanks, Chris, for caring so much about your workers, caring so much about the community, caring so much about your customers. So it makes a big difference, man.
Yeah. I mean, our guys all know our core values, and we hire around them. So,
yeah. And that's what you got on the side of the trucks.
Yes, exactly. All the trucks. Yes. And it's for the guys. It's not for the customers. You can go around the office and you can ask anybody, and, you know, shoot, they can, I had sales meeting this morning. They did off in unison all together.
Yeah.
So, you know,
they're all programmed.
Yeah. So, but but that's what you want, right? You want everybody to understand.
Oh, totally. I remember when I got my first truck, somebody got me a Jesus fish,
right?
You know, to put on the back.
Yeah.
And instead of putting it on the back, I put it inside, like on the dash, so that I could see it.
Right.
Because I was like, I need to be reminded of this.
Yeah.
You know, so that's important. You know, put these reminders. It's really how you build your culture,
right?
You know, how you build your company culture,
right?
Where these are the things that are coming to mind. These are the things that they're reciting, and so then when it comes down to acting, you know, they're going to follow through and act out these values,
right? Or the bigger thing I think is that when they don't have the ability to get to a supervisor, you know, because every employee at any point in time has to make a decision that like kind of just falls on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Right. But the better he knows your company culture, he will be able to make that decision more in concert with what anybody else, his supervisor or anybody else would have directed him to do, because he understands the heartbeat of the company.
So it's really empowering.
Yes, exactly.
It's empowering everybody, not just the supervisors, the project coordinators, the foremen, but like everybody that puts on an ARI shirt.
Yeah. And it works in reverse too, because, you know, I'll have some of my direct reports come to me and they'll say, oh, you know what, we needed to do this for this customer today, to make sure that they were happy. I just want to let you know. So they don't come looking for permission because they know they've made the right decision already because of our company culture. It's more like, hey, FYI.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's because then it's almost a bottom up thing, right? Rather than a top down. That works way. It's another good hack for anybody who wants to get into business.
Yeah. Do bottom up. So Chris, there's you talked about that with all of the customers that you guys present to, you know, it's unreasonable to believe that everybody is going to go with you.
That's correct.
You know, but so with some of these customers as they're going with these other companies, and as you said, there's good companies out there,
Yes.
but there's also a lot of companies that are looking to take advantage of customers and their ignorance, and they're just trying to make a quick buck. So what has been your experience as you're taking these jobs? Like what percentage would you say of these jobs that August Roofing and Solar is taking is not just fixing problems that are from just regular wear and tear of a 25 to 30-year-old house, but are fixing problems that are actually caused by these other contractors, that are just looking to take advantage of these customers?
Probably about a third.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's that much.
Yeah. In some way, shape, or form.
And this goes along with the that story that you were just saying, where that 80-year-old woman,
Yes.
it had the same contractor come out. How many times was it? 4 times?
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Yeah,
but it was my salesman just told me the story, and he was pretty moved too, because he felt like horrible for her, because he did the inspection, came down, showed her everything, and she started crying, and he was like, "What's going on?" He was like, he thought he did something wrong, and she's like, "Well, no, I had my roof done, and they actually did nothing by showing the pictures."
Yeah.
So, and then he was like overwhelmed, because he's like, "Oh my goodness," so we got great people working for the company. So they're empathetic at the same time, so
that's the type of sales guys you want.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are going to actually solve problems.
Right.
That's awesome, Chris. Well, how can people find August Roofing and Solar if they're interested in learning more about the company, about what it is that you guys do, more about you?
Well, we have a YouTube channel. It's got tons of great YouTubes on there, and people are really, we started that a couple of years ago, and people are like coming to us, knowing about us already, which is kind of cool. It's a warm introduction then, and so that's a great place. August Roofing, the website. And that's probably the best way to get a hold of us. So there's a form on there. Fill it out. It'll come right to the guys in the office, and we'll give you a call and get somebody out to give you an estimate.
Awesome, man. So anybody wanting to get into the home services, I hope everybody took notes.
Yeah.
They've got all of that down. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming out and spending this time with us.
I appreciate it.
Definitely, man. Definitely.